2030 ED achaiwonera pawatch 8:30 ED novachaonera 2030. It's funny what is happening in Zanu-PF or the Zanu civil war. If you look at the ministers that ED has, all of them, they've tried by all means, and in fact some of the people have come out to say that Geza will be out of Zanu-PF. The first address that he made, of which there are many, but the first address that he made when he was telling Emmerson Mnangagwa to step down, they came out, including that feminine minister, the one that extra-gay, who's being made to be a gay by other people, came out, the Ministry of Information, is telling, no, we fought our revolution, you know, it's so. Other people, they say that they were going to press charges. Some people, they even say that Geza will be out of Zanu-PF. Geza again came out and even went as further as to say that, hey, listen, the only 2030 that you're gonna know is the 2030 of 8:30. But anyways, let's look at this video and we can maybe perhaps drain some knowledge or insights about 2030, about vision 2030.
With just his son and his cousin. Tonzwa vanhu vachiimba vachiti garwe garwe raiombera richitukwa chichi muchiimba rikapedzana rava muofisi. Imbai muchiti garwe garwe raiombera rikapedzana ratiza. Tisu takaridzosa.
You don't have a place to stay. You are. People are arguing on stupid things. 2030. Is it 2033? Is it 24? Shut up. Just let's do the work. I normally don't comment on this. Why do you speak for the man who has already said I'm not?
Anyways, here's the thing, or here's a point, right? So we need to understand the first thing here. The resolution that Zanu-PF took, or the National People's Conference, does not have the power to actually endorse a 2028 presidential candidate or a Zanu-PF president. It does not have, because that is up to the Congress of 2027 to decide. Another thing that is also here is that Emmerson Mnangagwa, even if we have to take the resolution that was taken it by maybe overwhelmingly by Mashonaland or by all provinces, even if we had to take this resolution, it still doesn't hold water because Patrick Chinamasa gave the burden to Emmerson Mnangagwa to express himself whether he was going to take 2030 or not, basically putting him into a corner. And Emmerson Mnangagwa chickened out in front of the army generals, and he says that he's not going to pursue 2030. He's a constitutionalist. I mean, I think you guys already saw what happened today here, but with Mnangagwa saying that he's a constitutionalist, what he was essentially saying, or what Mnangagwa was essentially saying, was that he doesn't want to go, he is refusing the resolution, of which that he was the only person that could either accept or maybe basically endorse or reject the resolution that was taken at the National People's Conference. Therefore, making the 2030 cause, they should have been denounced. Anyone, according to Zanu-PF Constitution, that is actually going against the resolution not to adopt the 2030 should be bought. Anyone that is endorsing the 2030 ED 2030 anenge achipo kana kuti munhu wese ari kuti zve2030 aMnangagwa anenge achipo ari kuita maslogan, according to their own constitution, they should be brought to the book or a disciplinary hearing, because Mnangagwa didn't accept it in the first place. But these people are not being brought to a hearing or a disciplinary hearing because Mnangagwa endorses he wants the 2030, but through a back door. Today they want to go against Comrade Geza, who openly supported the resolution of not adopting 2030, who's openly saying that Mnangagwa is saying nothing. And this brings also a interesting power dynamic here. Remember, Mnangagwa is the first secretary of Zanu-PF. In fact, he is the person that can actually expel or sign an expulsion of someone out of the party, including Comrade Geza. But Mnangagwa can't do that right now. His hands are tied. You saw how Daniel Garwe and even other ministers are calling Geza names. Some of them even threaten him with expulsion, but Geza keeps on coming back and shooting fireworks at them, and they're doing nothing about it, which is interesting and is starting to tell you that Mnangagwa's faction does not have the ultimate power within Zanu-PF, and they could lose it. And people like Daniel Garwe and Daniel Crocodile, they are singing the 2030 mantra because it's their bread, it's their butter, and it basically is the only thing that is shielding them right now. One thing that I keep on repeating here is that it could have made sense that Emmerson Mnangagwa has to sing the ED 2030 plan from the end of 2026 leading into 2027. But his plan was caught early, therefore he started singing from 2024 to 2025 in a desperate attempt to basically to fight it, to basically as a survival mechanism, because his time is over, or his time was gonna be over if this thing doesn't get implemented. You've seen, like what you have predicted in our very first video on this channel, that a lot of members of society, including opposition, is gonna come out saying that ED 2030 at some particular time, although we did not expect it to happen early this year. The fact that it's happening early this year zvikuitika izvezvo Mnangagwa ari under pressure nevanhu vake futi vari under pressure nenyaya ya2030. That's why vari kuzvimhanyisa izvezvo, which is showing you that they are not in total control of what is happening at Zanu-PF. Havana control of what is happening at Zanu-PF. That's why they are singing the ED 2030 anenge achipo ndinenge ndichipo right now. Now, what is also interesting to see with regards to the whole 2030 mantra here is that I'm not sure if we predicted this wrong, because everyone that received a vehicle from Mwinkinero Chivayo is supposed to be singing the ED 2030 mantra. If you guys are, what is this? They are supposed to be singing it at some point, at one point or another. They are supposed to start singing ED 2030 or 2030 Anenga Achipo. They're supposed to be singing that song. They are supposed to be saying Anenga Achipo at some point. But I wonder why a time to come up or to rise to the 2030 slogan. Is Mnangagwa still planning, or is this whole debate the thing a distraction? Because they didn't receive avanombopiwa motikari mahara, vakadzipiwa pane condition yekuti 2030 vachaimba slogan yababa, vachaita popularity yababa. So ma-celebrities asati atanga, that should tell us something. Are they being put on hold as of yet? But it's interesting to see though that some key players, including Ibet Angel himself, came out guns blazing in support of ED 2030. I'm not sure, but
tonzwa achimba achiti garwe raiombera richitupa chichi muchimba.
There is also another issue that people they do not get is Chiwenga, Prophet Chiwenga, not Prophet Chiwenga, but Pastor Chiwenga or Talent Chiwenga. We saw that Talent Chiwenga came out today in a video, and Talent Chiwenga was basically telling the Zimbabwean Republic that, guys, listen here. This is what is happening. Pacha roots Kopa Harare. I am starting to suspect that Talent Chiwenga is somehow General Chiwenga's mouthpiece after all, because these days he doesn't bash his own brother, or should I say his own cousin, as much as he does. He's speaking about Pacha roots Kopa Harare, and he's like, it's going to happen. I'm sensing some sort of a Chiwenga is now speaking on behalf of his brother, and that alone automatically puts kind of like sets the picture that is what is going to happen to ED. We just need to play this video and just play it a little bit further. I'm not sure if I can skip it and skip it.
This country with just his son and his cousin. Tonzwa vanhu vachiimba vachiti garwe garwe raiombera richitukwa chichi muchiimba rikapedzana rava muofisi. Imbai muchiti garwe garwe raiombera rikapedzana ratiza. Tisu takaridzosa.
Tivake nyika yekwedu 2013. We are
Hauna kumba kwekurara, you don't have a place to stay. You are. People are arguing on stupid things. 2030. Is it 2033? Is it 24? Shut up. Just let's do the work. I normally don't comment on this. Why do you speak for the man who has already said, I'm not?
Hubert Angel seems very uneasy there. And also, we also saw an attempt to arrest Blessed Dara Mhlanga, the journalist that is basically, and guess what Blessed Dara Mhlanga has been doing? Blessed Dara Mhlanga, I'm not sure if I'm speaking over this audio, but Blessed Dara Mhlanga, what he has been doing is that they are seeing him as hostile towards the ED faction because he hosted these war veterans, or every public appearance that they are making, they are using this independent, Zimbabwe independent, to portray their message. And that's why he was given an accusation that he did something to the minister. But we saw that immediately they let him go. It looks like they do not have much more power as of right now. And another thing is, it also tells us that perhaps the heralds and other news agencies are being forced not to broadcast anything from the war veterans themselves. And another thing that we also saw today is there's this so-called war veteran arikubuda achitaura tanzi varungu vaya nestrategy varungu varoda kutibvisa or anything of that particular sort. These people, they kind of like pretend to like it. From what I'm seeing, he doesn't give support. Oh, from what we are saying, he doesn't give support. Ask yourself, why is Christopher Mnangagwa not personally coming out to attack the anti-ED 2030 people? Why is that guy from Harare, I forgot whatever, who sits with Christopher Mnangagwa, the Youth League spokesperson, that normally comes out, guns blazing, saying, yeah, you said this about the party. They are all not coming out. We are only seeing the Daniel Garways or the ED associated people actually coming out to say all of these things, anti-ED 2030 things or anti-ED 2030 mantra. Some people even assuming that ED is under house arrest. And you should closely follow the account that is written Chimama. I suspect this account called Chimama is very close links with the military or inside the military of Zimbabwe. And this Chimama account, what it's actually doing, it's somehow leaking information on what's going to happen, because a demonstration will happen. Something will happen. And also, if you're looking at the video that is currently on your screen, if you see this guy, he comes out and he tells you that the people that we are trying to protect here, they have diplomatic passports. They can escape at any time. So everyone is running scared in Zanu-PF. Now, guys, we need to ask ourselves perhaps this one very question here. Can we let Zanu-PF lead us? Can we actually go to the streets again like we did in 2017? Can we endorse Chiwenga? Or should we just let what's happening in Zanu-PF leave them to fight on their own? If we are to say that let's just leave them and let's not meddle in Zanu-PF, what is the alternative that Zimbabweans have at the moment? Who is the alternative that they can go to? Because clearly we don't have an opposition leader, basically, or we don't have a strategic opposition party that is there to support the people of Zimbabwe, or that is there to direct or educate the people of Zimbabwe, or to radicalize them, or to group them into doing something. It's seemingly that it's becoming clear that maybe perhaps only Zanu-PF can do that, or Zanu-PF can do so. The leader that most people are looking forward to in the opposition is rather basically focusing on tweeting about a great new Zimbabwe. Never heard him directly attacking the ED 2030 mantra. He speaks in madimikira metaphors, but Douglas Monzora was very clear on saying that no to 2030, but with Nelson Chamisa, despite his public or his influence that he has and his popularity, he still doesn't go directly to ED 2030 and address it the way that we are supposed to be. It's supposed to be addressed it, or something that inspires perhaps the people like me. It's not really doing much from his side. Therefore, I think what is this? We should just hope that if we rally behind Chiwenga in Zanu-PF, perhaps Zanu-PF will reach such a point or such a stage at some point where it will allow the change in leadership, or it will allow, or maybe they'll get used to this frequency of leadership changes to a point where they get diluted from perhaps their Zanu-PF mantras or their Zanu-PF atrocities, to a point where at some point a proper opposition might actually show up and actually tackle this whole thing. Up until now, I don't see anything that the opposition in Zimbabwe can actually do to tackle against an ED Emmerson Mnangagwa. There is nothing that the opposition is currently doing, and that's very sad, and that's disappointing, to be honest with you. We could actually, if we had a proper opposition, like perhaps maybe across our neighbors border, like ana Julius Malema, anani vanokwasa kuti aiwa tokubheka military but ruri kupinda mugovernment mashares edu aya mashares enyaya kudai, so ndokuti, but at this point we do not have. Zanu-PF is going to lead this revolution, and they are going to claim this revolution again and again. It is, sorry, I think I'm just running out. Not running out as such, but I'm just jumping from topic to topic. ED's new plan now is to skip elections. Apparently, Matebelele North has voted to skip elections, and the thing is, elections are too costly. It looks like the referendum at this point is too much of a difficult thing for Emmerson Mnangagwa to pursue, perhaps. Now they want to skip the 2028 elections. In order for them to skip an election, they gotta be a disaster, something that they can justify it with. Maybe they are probably looking to cause something that might cause a national emergency or security emergency that ED can justify call it, so that they can skip the 2028 election. But again, guys, the Zimbabweans or the people that are listening, tell me, why are all these calls happening now in 2025? We haven't even reached 2026. It tells you that munhu ari pa pressure, guys, ari under pressure, kuboila, the temperature is almost reaching 100 degrees. What, like, zvinoita sense kuti dai ana ED vachiti 2030, somewhere around nearing 2028, like 2027, vakuimba songs, it takes less pressure on you to actually, like, the resistance that you might get from opposition won't be built up over time. It will be a sudden, what do you call it, an element of surprise, and they could have swept it like that. But they're fighting now. It tells you that akomana kuchachemwa, including some opposition people that were busy benefiting from this. Kuchachemwa kwete zvekutamba zviyo. And our celebrities that got cars from Winkney-Chivayo, they can be repossessed at any time, should it be proved. And in fact, Winkney-Chivayo does not have any business that he was running. To be honest, yeah, it was just recently when he actually announced the headquarters of his stupid company, whatever you call it, Intertrek or something like that, that he has his first headquarters in Harare, which tells you that the guy didn't have any he didn't have any company, whatever, so to speak. He didn't have anything that he was saying that he does have. He doesn't employ anyone, basically. That's what Winkney-Chivayo is. So when you look at it, these guys vakatambira zvinhu kuna Winkney, especially cars, property that can be resold. vachadzidzosera chete motikari idzi. Pamutemo, if you receive something that is stolen, you can't say that I was given at vachadzosera property. And I'm seeing that what is this, Emmerson Mnangagwa is trying to throw Magaya under the bus. He's trying to throw Magaya under the bus to distract the attention, because remember, Emmerson Mnangagwa, he does have influence on the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission. The Zimbabwean Anti-Corruption Commission is now behind Magaya. So basically, to make it as if Emmerson Mnangagwa is dealing with corruption, and Magaya might go to Chikurubi. I mean, it's not a joke. He could go to Chikurubi after all. Anyways, that was it all from me today. What is this? I'm gonna come back again as soon as I hear any news of the ED 2030. Anenge asipo, anenge ari muguva, or anenge ari kuchikurubi. 2030 Collins Mnangagwa anenge achicleana ma-streets. Mudzi, ukamuona Collins umudzi. 2030 Auxilia Mnangagwa anenge achitengesa pamusika. 2030 hapana anenge aripo papa. 2030 Daniel Garo anenge akugara kuZambia kana kunonzi juu kuMalawi sezvikuita shamwari dzake anonzi chihuri vese vakatiza. We are about to witness the very same thing again. And at this point, guys, they might come out tomorrow and say that we are now united as Zanu-PF. That would be a lie. The Zanu-PF at this point, with the people that they have been scratching each other, they have reached a point of no return. There will always be suspicions of each other, and that's how it's gonna eat itself from within. But whatever happens, the new faction or whatever faction that take over shouldn't be allowed to rebuild itself to that Zanu-PF again, which is why we needed a viable opposition, of which we do not have one right now. We have Job Scala doing his thing. With Chamisa, I don't know, maybe trying to open a blue movement or just speaking. With Douglas Monzora there, we have other people that have joined the Chabangus. It's all scattered apart. And the masses are confused more than ever when it comes to opposition. Don't blame some of the people when they say that, and the only way that they see actually Emmerson Mnangagwa going out is through Zanu-PF itself and no one else. Because unlike Mozambicans, Zimbabweans, we are quite weak. I mean, Mozambicans, they support Venancio Mondlane out there. As Zimbabweans, we are, just last week, motikari yaWinkini Wechivaya yaida kuklempwa mutauno. Pane vanhu vakaenda kuti siyai motikari yambinga, siyai motikari yambinga. Akabuda Winkini anombopa kana munhu ane dhora akabva aenda. Akagadwa namusi. Munhu ari kuba muhomwe yenyika. Ari kunzi ari part of kuba homwe yenyika. People in Harare were taking selfies next to his car, trying to stop a city official from clamping his car. That's the culture of Zimbabweans. And it's very disappointing. Sometimes it's disappointing to share citizenship with such people. To share citizenship, and I'm on a post story for ED, but let me keep quiet. Thank you guys, the ones that have been listening or watching. Thank you.